This video demonstrates how you can disable access to cloud endpoint URLs for security purposes in OData-enabled JDBC connections in Cloud Application Integration. Let's begin by creating an OData-enabled JDBC connection in Application Integration. Log in to Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services and click the Application Integration Service. Click New, App Connections, and then click Create to create an app connection. Enter basic connection properties such as the name and location. To create a JDBC connection, select the connection type as JDBC Generic Cloud Adapter. In the Run On field, select the Secure Agent group or the Secure Agent machine where you want to run the connection. In the OData-enabled field, select Yes to enable OData for this connection and expose data as a service using OData standards. Specify the allowed users and/or allowed groups that can use this connection to access data from the OData service. The OData Cloud Access Enabled field specifies whether you can use the Cloud OData endpoint URLs to access data from the OData service. You can choose to disable access to the Cloud OData endpoint URLs for security purposes. Select No to disable access to the Cloud OData endpoint URLs. If you select No, you cannot access data from the OData service through the Cloud OData endpoint URLs. You can access data only from the Secure Agent endpoint URLs. If you select Yes, you can access data from both the Cloud and Secure Agent OData endpoint URLs. Let's select the value as Yes for this connection. Configure the JDBC connection properties such as the JDBC connection URL, JDBC jar directory, schema name, username, and password. We will use this connection to expose data from a MySQL database through an OData service. Note that the JDBC connection URL field defines details of the MySQL database and the schema field defines the name of the schema that we want to access. Click Save to save the connection. You can also click Test to test the connection. The connection test has passed. Now let's publish the connection. Open the Actions menu and click Publish. The connection is now published. You can view the generated process objects by clicking the Metadata tab. The Objects section shows the tables contained in the schema that you had defined in the connection. Open the Actions menu and click Properties Detail to view the generated OData service URL and OData Swagger URL. You can use the OData service URL to view details of the REST endpoint. You can use the OData Swagger URL to view the metadata of the OData API. Note that since we had enabled access to the cloud endpoint URLs, the URLs have been generated based on the cloud URL. In this case, you can access data from the OData service from both the cloud and Secure Agent endpoint URLs. Let's test this now. Copy the OData service URL and paste it into a browser tab. Let's append the table name as customer in the URL to view data from the customer table. Enter the user credentials that you had defined in the JDBC connection to access the OData service. You can see here that the cloud endpoint URL has returned data from the customer table through the OData service. Now let's disable access to the cloud OData endpoint URLs and test again. Let's save and publish the connection for the changes to take effect. Open the Actions menu and click Properties Detail to view the generated URLs. Note that since we disabled access to the Cloud OData endpoint URLs, the URLs have been generated based on the Secure Agent details. Let's verify that the Secure Agent endpoint URL returns data from the customer table. You can see here that the Secure Agent endpoint URL has returned data from the customer table through the OData service. Now let's verify that the Cloud endpoint URL does not return any data from the OData service because we disabled access to the cloud endpoint URLs. As expected, we are unable to view the data by using the cloud endpoint URL. To summarize, this video demonstrated that you can disable access to the cloud endpoint URLs for security purposes. If you disable access to the cloud endpoint URLs, you can view data only from the secure agent endpoint URLs. If you enable access to the cloud endpoint URLs, you can view data from both the cloud and secure agent endpoint URLs.